I had this little idea of a video to make, and I was checking out like see if they're gonna talk about it. This one is a game that will there will never be another fighting game like this. Is what the video's called. What game am I talking about? I'm talking about the Def Jam series. We had Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York, but I was told in what's it called, a Twitter thread. If this video gets, or if this post gets a lot of retweets, we're gonna talk about the next Def Jam game that we got cooking. And now they're saying that they don't.
In the early 2000s,
it repeated itself. Damn it.
In the early 2000s, a craze was sweeping the nation. Games like Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Mafia, games where you play as the bad guy instead of a good guy, were becoming more and more popular. You want to run people over with a stolen car? Get in a shootout with the cops? Pay a prostitute to help you recover your health and then use a baseball bat to get your money back? As long as your mom or older brother buys the game for you.
Actually, it's his birthday present.
Go crazy, kid. One of the most iconic games from this era, one that in my opinion perfectly distills what growing up in the early 2000s was like, was a crossover between this preteen thirst for over-the-top violence, pro wrestling, and hip-hop. This is Def Jam Vendetta and Fight for New York. Two games that could never, ever be made today.
Why? Why would it not be made today? Everything was so fun out of this. It's like ruthless combat. And I've already played the first one, which is going to be shown here. But it's just so fun. And they have a bunch of rappers out there who would have loved to be part of this. Like, I would love to play as Eminem and beat up who's one? Who's one from there that they were saying? Logic. Let's just put Logic in there. Look, we got Snoop Dogg. And some of the enders were like so simple. It's Crow.
You can't be a pimp if you get owned like a hoe.
Ooh.
In the late 90s and early 2000s, the music genre every kid was falling in love with and every parent was terrified of was hip-hop. The Wu-Tang Clan, Ludacris, DMX. Across North America, white suburban teens were trading their flannel shirts and blue jeans for basketball jerseys and fitted caps. The question for retailers was, how do we make money off this? The answer? Video games. Specifically, sports games. Hip-hop and sports games first crossed paths in 1995. Rap Jam Volume 1 was a basketball game featuring artists like Coolio, LL Cool J, Warren G, and even Queen Latifah. The budding relationship between hip-hop and video games saw the creation of the infamous Wu-Tang Shaolin style in 1999, but it wasn't until the early 2000s until things really took off. At this time, game soundtracks were starting to feature more songs from real artists rather than composing music themselves.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I would love, I love the whole soundtrack of what was Def Jam, because Vendetta, because it had those iconic songs from DMX, from these other artists that were in there, that every time that you fought and one of their songs was playing, but just the instrumental, like, it was just so fire, because you were just like vibing with like the song that it was. That's what I love.
Pro Skater was many a 12-year-old's first introduction to punk and ska. Having a similar effect with hip-hop were sports games developed by Electronic Arts. The theme for Madden 2000 was produced by Ludacris, Exhibit was on Madden 2001, NBA Live 2001 featured Bootsy Collins, and NBA 2K1's theme was produced by Redman. Rappers were even being featured as characters in games. Like
that one was fun.
Dupree in EA's 2000 boxing game,
That made it fun when you had all these like these guests. Cause I know the WWE did that with some of like the singers and artists that were in there, that it was just so random to see. You're like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know this character was in this game. Yeah, because these are secret guest characters to get. And who doesn't love a guest character for a game? Especially one that's like, that involves sports. Like, that would be amazing just to like get a random artist, movie star, or anyone in general in a sports game. That's just sick.
Knockout games. So EA decided to open up a new division called
EA Sports.
The goal was to create sports games that leaned less into traditional sports like Madden and FIFA and more into the world of extreme and street sports. The first game they produced was 2001's SSX Tricky, one of the great snowboarding games of all time, which they followed up with NBA Street Volume 1 and 2 in 2001 and 2002.
I've heard about these
respectively.
street games.
Volume 1 featured hip-hop tracks from artists like The Herbalizer and the London Funk All-Stars, but Volume 2 took it to the next level, featuring artists like Nate Dogg, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Just Blaze, Black Sheep, and Redman. With hip-hop artists in the mix, and EA's willingness to go beyond traditional sports games, something cool was bound to happen.
Yes. This is a great way for obviously marketing your music as an artist. So I don't understand like this whole point of why would there never be another fighting game like this, since we have Tekken, we have Street Fighter, we have possibly another Smash game on the way. We have all these other fighting games. Why can't we not get like a awesome out of nowhere game that was made by a company like EA? I don't think they're doing a fighting game right now. So that would be the perfect moment to do that. It will be a perfect moment to like have any artist that is down to do this, and you get to play as them, and they get to do like their fighting moves, their finishers and stuff like that. Like, bro, that shit will rack coin like really easily, and they would get the publicity of their music being in there, and people end up listening to the music on their free time. That's how you market, bro.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we have to talk about. The late 90s and early 2000s was when pro wrestling was in its attitude era.
You also got to bring to the point that we're at this age now that now WWE got signed in with Netflix, and who also ends up watching Netflix? A bunch of people around the world. They're still willing to pay that amount of money for the subscription, and yeah, you're able to watch it live now on there instead of getting television. Now you could watch it on Netflix. So that's what I'm saying. Like, now is a perfect time to do it. It's a new era for the streaming industry with wrestling. People are ending up watching it. They still love wrestling, bro. So why is it now to the point that they're stopping this hype?
I'm talking Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, The Rock, Chris Jericho, Stone Cold.
Yeah, these are legends,
Steve
but like there's
Austin.
awesome
During this
legends
time,
coming up.
We were getting pay-per-view spots on a nightly basis, and every kid in the USA wanted to be Jeff Hardy hucking swanton bombs off the jungle gym. To capitalize on the fervor, wrestling promotions started making their own video games. All Japan Pro, WCW, and WWF were some of the big names putting out multiple games every year.
These graphics
One of
are
the
crazy.
foremost grappling game developers at the time was a Japanese company called Aki. They were the team behind WWF WrestleMania 2000, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, and in 1999, they partnered with EA to produce WCW Mayhem. The game was successful enough that EA wanted a sequel, but during production, WCW was purchased by Vince McMahon and the WWE, leaving EA in a bit of a predicament. Suddenly, they had this amazing wrestling game engine and no IP to fill it with. In comes Josh Holmes, the co-creator of NBA Street, who happened to be brought into a brainstorm meeting at EA as they were trying to figure out what to do with the abandoned wrestling game.
And we had come off of NBA Street, we loved street ball culture, we loved urban culture, and we were like, well, you know, what if you did something with like, you know, hip hop artists and fighting, and they're like, that's genius, we should totally do that. And we're like, oh, no, we're brainstorming. This is a terrible idea, you should not do this. Like, whatever you do, don't do that. And they're like, no, that's great.
Well, one thing led to another, and the idea eventually made its way to the president of Def Jam Records, Kevin Liles. He himself, a big fan of video games. Next thing he knew, Holmes was put in charge and had 9 months to create a fully fleshed out video game. EA had permission to use anyone signed to the Def Jam label, but each artist had to sign on personally. So, Holmes and Def Jam marketing VP, Lauren Wurtzer-Seawood, had to fly out to meet with Def Jam musicians individually to convince them that this video game was a good idea for their career. Surprisingly, many were on board.
Yeah.
Really on board.
They weren't shy in showing, some of those moves off against some of the members of the development team. So, we took a few bruises for the show.
Oh my goodness!
During these meetings, the talent would give their input as to how they wanted to be represented in the game.
Yes, dude. Like I said, bro, now's the perfect time to do this shit, bro. It's so cool. Like, you get to become any artist in basically the music industry. I'll go to that. Anyone. Like, look at Call of Duty. What is Call of Duty doing now? They had Nicki Minaj. I don't know if they had Snoop Dogg in there. What did Fortnite do? They're adding artists that you get to play as. People that end up listening to the music because it's the music is in there are playing as the artist. Bro, they're losing so much fucking momentum with this that, oh my gosh, it's a missed opportunity. If we get to the point where Fortnite, Call of Duty, or any other game starts implementing music artists or movie artists, or basically movie actors, sorry, then this whole point of making another fighting game like this is never gonna exist. Why? Because they don't want to push forward, bro. People would buy good money for this.
What their characters would wear, their attitude, their voice lines,
Really think this cat can handle the dog?
and, of course, their finishers, called Blazing
Like,
Moves.
they could just do
on his shoulders like
a
this,
few,
like he gonna torch
what's it
rap
called,
him like this. Then he swings him like this.
lines, and then that's it.
And throws him and drop him face first on his head. He bust out his finisher.
Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then
One
boom.
infamous story involves Ghostface Killah of the Wu-Tang Clan.
We met with Ghostface Killah, and he was hyped about what he wanted, and he sort of described this costume that he wanted, but the thing that he was really, really passionate about is he wanted this like gold bracelet with a giant bird on it. And he's like
Ghostface.
a real bird? Like a bird. It was a gold bird. He wanted a gold bird with like diamond eyes. But he's like, the deal is, my special move is the bird comes to life and it tears out my opponent's eyes. It pecks them out. And Lauren's just like, just say yes, just say yes. I'm like, we can't do that. Like, it's not technically possible. No, just say yes. Just, okay, sure, Ghost, yeah, got it. The bird comes to life, got it.
With the eye-plucking Blazing Move notably absent on the game's release, the next time the two met, Ghost made sure to remind him of it.
When we went back and did the sequel, he remembered that. He was like, dude, you didn't do my bird. He's like, where's my bird?
This was partly due to EA's resistance to anything overtly violent, which caused friction on the creative side of things. Josh Holmes recounts a moment in the game's story when the main antagonist, D-Mob, pulls a gun on the player. It was supposed to be the game's climax, but shortly before the game was set to release, former president of Worldwide Studios for EA, Don Matrick, tried to get it pulled from the game, saying, quote, "You can't have a gun in this."
Weak. That's so weak. There are no guns in hip hop, bro. You're not cultured. Shit.
There are no guns in hip-hop.
Yeah.
How EA could greenlight a hip-hop fighting game during the gangster rap era and expect there to be no guns is almost beyond comprehension.
Stop it!
But thankfully, Josh Holmes and his team pushed back as much as they could to try and remain true to their vision. Despite EA's attempts to hamstring them, they did an excellent job, and even had many of the artists help promote the game of their own accord. Part of Def Jam Vendetta's marketing tour was the Def Jam Tour, which saw Method Man travel around the states to promote the labels as well as the game. Part of the tour had Meth go to local GameStops and play against customers.
Oh,
According
that's
to him,
fire.
He was undefeated for most of the tour.
Holla at your boy, Game Pro.
Until one kid managed to beat him.
Damn.
Although Meth didn't know his name, he refers to him in interviews as a little piece of shit. Thankfully, our story doesn't end with Def Jam Vendetta. After the game's initial success, the people wanted more.
That one was
EA
sick.
wanted more. And the team at EA Big did not disappoint. Bigger scope, more characters, and a fundamentally better game.
This is the game I really wanted to play, but it's so expensive right now to find it. And this one is called Def Jam Fight for New York. And this is the one that has the villain, which is Snoop Dogg. And I did not know that Danny Trejo was in this. But, like, bro, this looks so fun. I really want to play it so badly. And, like, see what the story's about.
Where Def Jam Vendetta was more of a beat 'em up, its sequel, Fight for New York, was more like a 3D fighting game. One that you could practice and actually get good at. Fight for New York brought in a couple of different fighting styles, making the gameplay more diverse.
Damn.
You could specialize in kickbox, street fighting, martial arts, submission, and wrestling, and take on specific traits from...
Oh my gosh, dude, this is a lost cause, bro. This looks so good for the concepts of making a new one with a new engine that is amazing, that runs so good. For you got consoles like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, the Nintendo Switch 2, the PC. Bro, such a lost cause. Why are they doing this? The people were asking for it, and a lot of people retweeted it. They liked it, and yet you're saying that you're not gonna make it, bro. This is what pisses me off. Please get another Def Jam in this,
from any of the fighting styles,
or
to create
even
a
if it's not
character
Def Jam,
that
like
really
another
fits your style of play. Alternatively,
name for
you
it.
could pick up and master one of the game's 67 playable characters. Yeah, you heard that right. 67. 44 of whom are based on real people. With the exception of DMX, everyone from Vendetta returned in Fight for New York. On top of this, the game brought in a ton of new artists. Busta Rhymes, Flava Flav, Fat Joe, Ice-T, Exhibit, Warren G, Prodigy, Slick Rick, Sean Paul, and Snoop Dogg.
Sean Paul was in there?
Kimura, Lil Kim, and even Carmen Electra. I can't think of any other piece of media that has as much star power as this game here. To make the gameplay more interesting, the venues included interactive components, like subway trains that can run over your opponent, windows for defenestration.
Here, you like this wall? Enjoy it.
Bro, he even fucking played it. Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Damn, dude, I really want to play this game.
Holy shit! Oh, what the fuck?
Rowdy onlookers who'll hold you down as you get stomped, and tons of other fun stuff.
Dude,
FFNY
this is
took
so
what made the first
fun.
game so successful and iterated on it in every way imaginable, coming up with a product that was even better than the first game. Oh, and Ghostface Killah got his golden bird. Not only that, but Fight for New York is still played today. At CEO 2022, 23, and 24, players came from all around the world to compete in Def Jam.
That was some Slumdog Millionaire type joint right there, bro.
With 2024 being commentated by none other than Yipes and Ringe.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
No!
My King Joe. Oh! Time.
Legally, we have to mention that there is a third game in the series, Def Jam Icon, which
Seriously?
took place on the West Coast. But that game was really, really bad, so we won't go any further. It's like the third Godfather movie. Just pretend it didn't happen.
Fucking forget about it.
Today, the Def Jam trilogy, or at least 2/3 of it, is lauded as a once-in-a-lifetime video game. It so clearly distilled the culture of early 2000s hip-hop, video games, and pro wrestling that if anyone who grew up during this time were to pick up the game and play it for the first time,
Yes!
they'd be guaranteed to go on a nostalgia trip. Those involved in the process of making the game remember it fondly. Redman said, quote, "It was great to see that my own label had their own video game and put their own artists in it. And the ill part about it was that it wasn't corny. It was
That's
very exceptional in
why.
the gaming industry." Method Man, DMX, Luda, and many others shared similar sentiments, excited to be immortalized in a video game. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that a game like this could ever be made again today.
Why? Let's see.
People want to bring back Def Jam Vendetta, and I said so many people ask me why this game hasn't been brought back for newer consoles. Maybe
Yes, and the same thing happened where someone, I don't know who it was, said that would it be possible, or if this gets many things, many likes, many retweets or something like that, we would get news about a potential new Def Jam game, yet it never happened. It just stood in the light forever, collecting dust.
because they'd have to pay for voice and music rights again. Maybe.
The legal issues around getting 40, 50, maybe 60 artists in a video game together, the amount you'd have to pay in royalties to use their likeness, and the fact that there really isn't any demand for a hip-hop fighting game based on the WWE means that the Def Jam video games are likely an artifact that will stay in the past. Still, the Def Jam series is remembered fondly and holds up to this day.
Well, that's lame. Cause I know that there's gonna be some artists that would like be open to like making this like possible with like the whole likeness, the royalties and stuff like that. Like they would be like down to do this again. Cause if it happened once with Def Jam Vendetta, where obviously all the artists from Def Jam were like open to it and wanted to do it, like, dude, like this would make so much money nowadays with obviously like getting stuff from Fight for New York, stuff from Vendetta, everything would just, oh my gosh, dude, oh man, it's just a lost cause if it doesn't doesn't end up becoming true. Oh man, I'll be sad if this never gets brought back again into the light, cause bro, this is a fun game. I really want another game of this. Damn.
Hey yo, little tip. Try blocking with your hands instead of your face, bitch.
Oh. Another amazing video. And big shout out to AK Sean for making this little compilation of the talk points of why this game would never be we will never get another fighting game like this. But like I said, if we did, that would just be I'll be crying. I'll be like, oh my gosh, they got everyone here. I'm so hyped to try to get this game for this new console. But even if we don't, I still want to find a way to play what's it called? Fight for New York. That's one thing I really want to play on stream one day. Amazing.